I Thirst Part 5 continued. The Dark Night. During the last 18 months of her life, Saint Therese of Lisieux suffered in excruciating physical pain as she lay dying from tuberculosis. She also suffered through a dark night of the soul that she called the night of nothingness, and she went through these struggles all alone. In her last manuscript, she wrote about her tragic confusion and sharing the same table as her unbelieving brothers, so that through her love, faith could grow in them. She quenched the thirst of Jesus, offering him the gift of her acceptance of being alone in her spiritual darkness and agony of her physical pain. During those very joyful days of the Easter season, Jesus made me feel that really there were souls who have no faith and were, through the abuse of grace, lost this precious treasure, the source of the only real and pure joy. He permitted my soul to be invaded by the thickest darkness, and that the thought of heaven, up until then so sweet to me, be no longer anything but the cause of struggle and torment. Your child, however, O Lord, has understood your divine light, and she begs a pardon for her brothers. She is resigned to eat the bread of sorrow long as you desire it. She does not wish to rise up from this table filled with bitterness at which poor sinners are eating until the day set by you. Can she not say in her name and in the name of her brothers, have pity on us, O Lord, for we are poor sinners? O Lord, send us away justified. May all those who are not enlightened by the bright flame of faith one day see it shine. O Jesus, if it is needful that the table soiled by them be purified by a soul who loves you, then I desire to eat this bread of trial at this table until it pleases you to bring me into the bright kingdom. The only grace I ask of you is that I never offend you. When I want to rest my heart, fatigued by the darkness that surrounded it, by the memory of the luminous country after which I aspire, my torment redoubles. It seemed to me that the darkness, borrowing the voice of sinners, says mockingly to me, "You are dreaming about the eternal light, about a fatherland embalmed in the sweetest perfumes. You are dreaming about the eternal possession of the Creator of all these marvels. You believe that one day you will walk out of this fog that surround you. Advance, advance, rejoice in that which will give you not what you hope for, but a night still more profound, the night of nothingness." I tell him too that I am happy not to enjoy this beautiful heaven on this earth, so that he will open it for all eternity to poor believers. Also, in spite of this trial which has taken away all my joy, I can nevertheless cry out, "You have given me delight, O Lord, in all your doings. For is there a joy greater than that of suffering out of love for you? The more interior the suffering is, and the less apparent to the eyes of the creatures, the more it rejoices you, O my God. But if my suffering was really unknown to you, which is impossible, I would still be happy to have it, if through it I could prevent or make reparation for one single sin against faith." The loss of God. Mother Teresa also realized the tragic silence of God. She had lived through the harsh realities of the 20th century by feeling the solidarity with the victims of evil who search in darkness for a light, a hope, and a meaning. Her living presence showed us how she felt the suffering of a God wounded by so much fanaticism and indifference. Like Saint Teresa, she had quenched Jesus' thirst for love and the thirst for love of his children by becoming herself a victim of love. She accomplished this by being faithful in the little things, allowing herself to be drawn by Jesus' suffering love, thus becoming part of his cry on the cross, my God, why have you forsaken me?" When Mother Teresa's personal journal is finally published, the surprise will be great. You will learn that she had lived her faith through a tormenting trial, afflicted by excruciating, painful doubt about the existence of God. This dark night became her daily suffering for most of her life. She confided in her journal, "The people damned in hell suffer an eternal punishment because they experience the loss of God. In my soul, I feel the terrible pain of that loss. I feel that God does not want me, that He is not God, and that He does not really exist." In this second Lateran Conference of 2003, Cathedral Notre Dame in Paris, Cardinal Paul also quoted from Mother Teresa writing about the complete spiritual darkness in her life. "My smile is a great mantle which covers a multitude of suffering," she wrote in July of 1958. "I smile all the time. The people and the sisters think that my faith, my hope, my love are profoundly fulfilling me, and that intimacy with God and that union with His will live in my heart. If they only knew, only blind faith moves me along, because the truth is that all is darkness for me. Sometimes the agony of desolation is so great, and at the same time, the living hope for the absent so profound that the only prayer I am able to recite is, Sacred Heart of Jesus, I place all my trust in you. I will quench your thirst for souls. Blessed Teresa experienced the pain of the lone shepherd, referred to the poem of St. John of the Cross as the suffering caused by the indifference of his shepherdess who rejected his love. Mother Teresa's dark night of faith became like Jesus' death on the cross, a night of love. Is suffering like Jesus from feeling unloved, she dressed her wounds by giving herself to the poorest of the poor. Nevertheless, she always acted as if God loved her, even if she did not feel this love and doubted its existence. Yet her blind faith in God brought her to deep personal prayer. She suffered from desiring Jesus and wanting to share in his thirst, and at the same time she felt the pain of people who were rejected and unloved. The darkness of faith and hope made her share in the skepticism of a society which put religion aside, especially in the Western countries. In order to resist the pain of darkness, she doubled her love. Her actions were enormously fruitful, resulting from a great tiredness in the time she spent in prayer. Her words emerged from absolute silence, like those who are completely filled with the Holy Spirit, worship in silence and in truth. Marked by total silence and a dark night of faith, Mother Teresa welcomed the wound of the Good Shepherd. The contemplatives and the ascetics of all ages and religions have always sought God in the silence and solitude of the desert, forests, and mountains. Jesus himself spent 40 days in the desert and mountains, communicating for long hours with the Father in silence of the night. We too are called to withdraw at certain intervals into deeper silence and aloneness with God, together as a community as well as personally. To be alone with God, not with our books and thoughts and memories, but completely stripped of everything, to dwell lovingly in His presence, silent, empty, expectant, and motionless. The gift of joy. St. John of the Cross shown with great eloquence that the dark night in Christian understanding is a night of love and joy. This night is a lived experience with Christ who died and was risen and became present in the absence. We often feel this love as an absence, but Jesus allows us to rejoice in His presence in faith. When we feel the absence of someone who is dear to us, we want that person to be present because they are present in our heart. This absence increases our desire and we feel even more distant, which increases our yearning for closeness. Simone Weil, the great French philosopher, asked if God is present only in the form of absence. The shepherdess in the poem of St. John of the Cross does not remember that presence in the absence. She forgot her shepherd and no longer enjoyed his presence. Her heart was in a different place. She no longer was the shelter for her friend, although the heart of the shepherd was all hers. He wanted to draw her to himself and take her with human attachments and bonds of love. He suffered like all of us when we don't feel our love is reciprocated. And he also suffered for his friend who moved in a different direction without his love. If she only knew what it meant to be loved by such a friend. But how could the shepherd demonstrate his love to her? He climbed a tree, opened his arms, and remained there hanging, his loving heart broken. He died attached to the tree, a sublime image of the cross. Having loved until the very end, the lone shepherd died of love for her by giving his life. He also died through her because she refused his love. I have come to call not the righteous but to bring sinners to repentance. He died forgiving because he did not know what we were doing. He died his heart pierced by a lance so that the heart could heal us once and for all and relieve to us the Father. He was the divine physician who came for the sick, and by his cross earth was lit with his fire and we were able to reach for heaven. Thus this tree of life opens paradise for us. Everything was given to us at the foot of the cross. A mother, pardon, thirst, and a heart. And I, when I am lifted up from the earth, I will draw all men to myself. The depth of Jesus' heart was revealed itself in the secret of the wound. His open side, which will not close anymore. It will stay open because we are to understand that love is infinite, beyond anything that suffering can show. The testimony of Saint Catherine of Siena, Dr. Richer, puts it beautifully when she asked Jesus why he wanted to have his heart opened since he was already dead. He responded, because my desire towards every person was infinite, real love of enduring pain was finished, but because the work was finished, I could not show all the love which I have for you, because my love has no end and is never finished. That is why I wanted you to see the secret of my heart and show it to you open so that you see that I loved you more than any work of finite suffering can show. We were born of this wound of the Lamb from which blood gushed forth, and the blood and water were merged for weddings, not only at Cana but at all times. As with St. Catherine of Siena and St. Margaret Mary, the merciful heart was once again revealed to another young woman as late as between the two world wars, St. Faustina Kowalska. She became the first woman canonized by Pope John Paul II during the Jubilee year of 2000. He announced that the first Sunday after Easter would be called from then on the Divine Mercy Sunday, responding to the desire Jesus himself had revealed on February 22nd, 1931, to the simple Polish religious of 25 years. Love never ceases to spend itself. St. John of the Cross told us that by approaching the love of the heart of Jesus, it becomes possible for us to empty ourselves completely so that we can make room for Him. From the emptied self of our mortal humanity surges the all of the fullness of God, who only waits for our empty self to be offered freely. This heart, which initially searches for us, first begs our yes and does not want to be forgotten. He graces us with love for Him so that we might allow Him to find us. He set the promised day to come again at the end of times and offer us today a life in His future by way of abandonment and confidence. Saint Therese wrote a poem entitled To the Sacred Heart of Jesus, in which the risen Jesus was a beloved person. She had the same fire burning within her as did her spiritual brother, Saint John of the Cross. Once again, her focus is on the science of love, lived out as a relational work of love, which is the essence of her teaching. Rarely has she expressed it as clearly as in the following poem, To the Sacred Heart of Jesus. I need a heart burning with tenderness, who will be my support forever, who loves everything in me, even my weakness, and who never leaves me day or night. I could find no creature who could always love me and never die. I must have a God who takes on my nature and becomes my brother and is able to suffer. You heard me, only friend who I love. To ravish my heart, you became man. You shed your blood, what a supreme mystery, and you still live for me on the altar. If I cannot see the brilliance of your face or hear your sweet voice, oh my God, I can live by your grace. I can rest on your sacred heart. O heart of Jesus, treasure of tenderness, you yourself are my happiness, my only hope. You who knew how to charm my tender youth, stay near me till the last night. Lord, to you alone I have given my life, and all my desires are well known to you. It's in your ever infinite goodness that I want to lose myself, O heart of Jesus.